Yeah, come on, take.
I may take some of that now.
Why me? Why? How many guys are afraid
that? I'm
that?
not a big fan of gold label.
What?
No one
is. I don't always have the gold label. That's not true. Yeah, that's in the fridge. All right, so I took out freezer. Thank you. I took out Humashim for everybody because I want you to open up the Humash that you have there. Okay, now it says go to Perek. You're going to go to Perek Tet, Pasuk Zayin and Het. Open up. I prepared open that over there. I got this. Right. That's a lot of ice you put.
So like everything ice cold.
Okay. Listen, ice cold. All right, go to Perek Taf Tet. Sorry, Pasuk Zayin.
That is the craziest parasha.
Eikev is crazy.
One of the craziest parashas. It's a retarded amount of musar going on there.
All of Devarim you should know.
Yeah,
the entire Devarim is all musar. It's 37 days before Moshe Rabbeinu dies. It's all musar. So look what it says. Zechor al tishchach. Remember, don't forget. Et asher iksafta et Hashem elokecha b'midbar. How you angered God in the midbar. Min hayom asher yatzata me'eretz Mitzrayim ad boachem ad hamakom hazeh. From the day you left Mitzrayim until the day you came here today, right? 40 years later. Mamrim heyitim im Hashem. You were a bunch of rebels in front of God. Okay? Beauty. Very nice words from Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, if you turn to the next pasuk.
What's the definition of iksafta again?
Iksafta is like you angered him, like you antagonized, I think. Provoked is a good word, yeah, provoked. So now go to the next pasuk. It says, U'b'chorev hiksaftem et Hashem, v'yitanaf Hashem b'achem lashmid etchem. And he goes out to say, and by Har Sinai, Horev is another name for Sinai, because Sinai has 7 names. Right? It says, and you angered God there also, right? And you provoked him to destroy you. So now, let's go into Zera. So we're on Derashat Dalid. It says, Zechor al tishkach et asher hiksafta, right? From the day that you left Mitzrayim, you rebelled against God. We're on Dalid. Actually, the article might be Hey. What is it might be Hey. Yeah, it's Hey. I don't know. There's 2 parashiyot I saw that they did that. Corrections at artscroll.com, by the way. I've sent a few. I've sent a few. The first time I did it, I got an email from them saying thank you so much, this and that, and I'm like, oh my God, they spent time to write this email. Then I realized it's an automated email. It's like regulated. Like, oh, such a letdown. But it's important to send. It's important to send. So look what he brings the pasuk. He brings the al-sheikh. The al-sheikh, you should know, was it was the all-star generation. You had the al-sheikh, you have Rabbi Yosef Karo, and you have the Arizal, all in the same generation. The al-sheikh,
all buried near each other. Right?
Yeah, they're all buried. And the al-sheikh was the one that was the master of Pilpul. Rabbi Yosef Karo was the master of Halacha, and the Arizal was the master of Kabbalah. All about 500 years ago, and they're the ones that spread the Torah. We have a lot of Torah from them. Arizal, we have all the Kabbalah from him. Rabbi Yosef Karo is Maran, right? Maran Shulchan Aruch, and the al-sheikh is all the Pilpulim. Is all the Pilpulim. So the al-sheikh brings the question. He goes, after you already said that Hashem, that you rebelled against Hashem from the day you left Mitzrayim until the day you got here, 40 years later, right? Be'arvot Moav, right? Which is what all of the 40 years that you went through the Midbar. Why does the Torah go back and repeat the next pasuk? That's why I wanted you to see the second pasuk. Be'horev iksaftem, right? That you angered God in Har Horev, which is what Maaseh Egel. Why? Because he bring it says stylistic citation. Which means that if something is, if I tell you to go 2 blocks from here, I don't have to tell you go through that block and go to that block. I can just tell you go through 2 blocks, and by definition go through the second.
Stronger question is why is it ksafta and then ksaftim?
That's a very good point. But that's not tonight's class.
I'm just saying. I'm just thinking about it now. He's saying it first to singular. As a b'nai Yisrael in total, and then what? Hiksaftem and why? As separate.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Maybe they accept. What? Let's look at the history for a second.
Go ahead.
Look at the history from when we left Mitzrayim until Har Sinai. What happened? When did they complain? They only complained that why did you take us out to get us killed at the sea? No?
Yeah, Yam Suf.
Where else did they complain in the meantime?
Mm-hmm.
So where was the Hiksafta?
No, they complained. Where else did they complain? No, Hashem, that you complained to Hashem in the Midbar from the day you left. Yeah, but so by Yam Suf he's already complaining. So that was right.
So wait. So now, this is the only time he says right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. All right, let's keep going. Fine, but it's a pretty good question actually. Why did it say B'Lashon Yahid? That's a Zera question. Why did it say B'Lashon Yahid and then switches over to Lashon Abim? I wouldn't be surprised if it's there. But the question is, he brings the Al-Sheikh and says, why does he have to explain something? You already said the klal. Why does he go out of his way to say about the Egel? He already explained that from the day you left until the day you got here, you upset God.
Just pointed out
Why? Right. Amen. So look what he says. He says, V'yesh Romad, the Kavanah Moshe was, according to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that Yodea Kol Machshavot, Hashem knows everything, and Hashem knows what's in your head. He knows that we were rebellious from the day we left Mitzrayim until right now, Be'arvot Moab. However, who did not know? The Goyim, the world. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows. It only became known when we messed up with the Egel. Because before that, we didn't really mess up enough to say that, we're rebellious against God, or we're willing to look, or we're willing to let our eyes veer at someone else.
They were never rebellious. They complained, but they were never rebellious.
But what's in their heart, only Hashem knows. Only Hashem knows. So why did he bring out the Egel? Because that's specifically when the rest of the world would know now that they were rebellious. Right? Because how do we know? So I brought it out over here to read the whole pasuk. That was close. In Parashat Beshalach, I didn't open it over there. Parashat Beshalach, it says, Hashem did not send Bnei Israel through Derech Eretz Pelishtim because it's close. Why? Because he said, Ki Amar Elohim, Hashem said, Pen Yenachem Ha'am, Birotam Milchama V'Shavu Mitzrayim. Maybe Bnei Israel are going to get second doubts and turn around. What does that show? It shows you that Hashem knew that Bnei Israel had doubts. But you understand? But the Goyim only knew we had doubts when we were when the Egel happened. And we bring you proof, right when we're leaving Mitzrayim, Hashem said, don't send them that way because they're a little shaky, let's send them the long way so they don't see all that stuff. You understand? We don't see what's the Midrash say? That I think it was Shevet Ephraim found a way out.
Right, and
they went out and they all died.
Right.
They all died.
Didn't want them to see them.
Hashem didn't want to see all the bones, all the bodies dead. He says, oh shoot, we're next. So that means that they had a doubt, they didn't have 100% emunah in Hashem. So it shows you from this pasuk in Beshalach that Hashem knew that already. You understand? Hashem knew that, and that was that. Okay. And they were not ready to listen to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They were ready and willing to go back to Mitzrayim. And so that's how we know that Hashem. So we're explaining that Hashem knew Bnei Israel were rebellious from the beginning, and we bring a pasuk in Beshalach of how Hashem is going to send Bnei Israel where He's going to send them, and make sure not to send them through Derech Eretz Pelishtim, because He knows there's a whole bunch of stuff on the floor that we don't want Bnei Israel to see, because if they do see it, they're going to get freaked out and they might go back to Mitzrayim. That was Hashem, right? Ki Amar Elohim Pen Yinahem, lest the people get nervous and go back. But the Goyim, how do we know the Goyim by Sinai? Because when we went to Sinai, we answered Naaseh, right, to Lishma, right? And it says in the Midrash that there was an element of rebelliousness when it came to the word of saying Naaseh v'Nishma, right? It says Vayiten et Moshe kechaloto, right? It connects it to a pasuk in Daniel. Lecha Hashem hasedakah velanu boshet hapanim. That Hashem is righteous and we are, we have shame on our face, shamefaced, right? Na'el Yisrael lomar Naaseh v'Nishma. Yeah, of course, it's coming up. Right? So it says, Na'eh le'Yisrael u'ma na'aseh le'benishma, Shema na'eh, because you might think it was, they would have said something like that to the Egel, because they said to the Egel, Ela Elohecha Yisrael. So the Midrash is explain. It's a little hard to explain. It's like a tongue twister. Why it connect when Moshe was done with the Luchot, the Midrash connects it with a pasuk that Hashem is righteous and we are shamefaced. We are shamefaced. Why? Because it makes sense that we said Naaseh v'nishma. Maybe we're willing to say anything to anybody because we just said to the Egel, that, this is the new God of Israel. So the Midrash is saying it makes sense that Bnei Yisrael would say Naaseh v'nishma. It's in a bad way. Yes. But he's saying, the Midrash is expressing that it's not good that we said Naaseh v'nishma. It's not as creditable because we say that to anybody that walks on the door. We said it to the...
That's only after the Egel then.
Doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Maybe it was credible at the time.
But we know that Hashem knew that we were rebellious from the day we left Egypt. Hashem knew that we were rebellious from the day we left Egypt, right?
Right. So then now we're going to say Naaseh v'nishma is not legit.
So this is what the Midrash is saying. Don't worry.
Right.
Don't worry.
I'm just trying to understand the
Yeah, that's exactly right. This Midrash is explaining that Bnei Yisrael, and by the way, it's a famous Midrash. It's not a one-timer. It's not like what's those called? One hit wonder. It's not a one hit wonder. It's a famous Midrash that they said Naaseh v'nishma. It doesn't sound so great because you could do it. It could be by anybody because you said Ela Elohecha Yisrael, right? You said that this is Bnei Yisrael. This is your new God, and Bnei Yisrael accepted it. So if you're willing to do that, it's not so great. They said, "I'll do and I'll listen." Before, we're like, "Oh my gosh, we'll do it. We'll listen. We're not going to hear it. Who signs a contract before looking at it?" All those examples. But over here, we're saying it in a completely opposite way. For sure. If anyone's going to say Naaseh v'nishma, it's you Jews, because you guys do anything to anybody. That's what the Midrash is saying. Okay? And besides what the Zera Shimshon is explaining, besides what he wrote in Parshat Ki Tisa, there's another way to look at it. That really, it's not so great that Bnei Yisrael said Naaseh v'nishma. Why? Because the Zera Berach, right? So the Zera Berach, by the way, I think was the student of the Arizal, one of the students of the Arizal. He brings up and he says, why do we say Naaseh v'nishma? Because when did we say it? When Hashem took Har Gigit, right, the mountain, and put it on top of us. And he said, accept it. And what did we say? We said that we said Naaseh v'nishma because Naaseh was referring to Torah shebichtav. Nishma is Torah shebe'al peh, which means Torah shebichtav, Hashem, whatever you said, we accept. No problem. Whatever you tell me to jump, I say no problem. You want to talk about the rabbis? I'm not sure. Nishma, I'll listen to it first. If it makes sense to me, I'll accept. If it doesn't make sense to me, I ain't taking it. Hashem said, oh yeah? Har Gigit comes, and they say, okay, we'll take it. Why? Because Bnei Yisrael did not want to accept the oral law.
On face value, it sounds like they're very gung-ho, because now it says, we'll do whatever you say, then we'll... There's
always...
No, I'm saying, if you take it at face value, it says we're going to do it, Nishma, then we'll learn about it, we'll just do whatever you say, and then we'll understand why you make me do this. That's like the face value, but then...
Say the face value again.
That you're going to take Naaseh, we'll do what you say, and then we'll learn why we're doing it after the fact. So we're going to listen.
That's the kosher version.
The kosher version is we'll do it.
This is the negative side of it.
Right. Give me the positive side.
The positive side is we're going to do it.
So again, we'll do it.
We're going to do it, and then we'll figure out after why we're doing it. We'll learn after why we're doing it, but we'll
you should know. So there's another midrash that says that when Bnei Yisrael said Naaseh v'nishma, a bat kol came out of a prosdor in Shemayim and said, who told my children that secret of the malachim? Because only the malachim know what to do before I tell them what to do. Right. I said, who told them that? Where did that come from? Who told them? So I don't know the rest of the Mishnah. I forgot. Who told them? I don't know.
But then if you look at the other way.
Now we look at the other way.
The other way that Naaseh, that Nishma is, okay, if I listen to this and then if I don't like it.
That's why this is so delicious. You understand? Because you're going to look at it in both ways.
Right.
You're going to look at it in both ways. It's like the mirror that makes you look fatter and skinny all at the same time. Why? Because Naaseh v'nishma, we're looking at it bad way.
I know that's a good mirror.
That's true. It depends who you are, really. Yeah. I told you too skinny. She looks at me and said, oh, thanks, Dad. But no, man, you've missed the whole point. What's the matter with you? The Zera brings the Parshat Yitro. He brings that the Midrash Tanhuma says that Hashem put Hagigit on top. Oh, you don't know these things. You don't know these things. You don't know. I have 3 girls, thank God, and a boy. Okay? Now I called Rabbi Lifshitz in Afula, Jerusalem. I'm sorry, in Israel. God bless. Ruach HaKodesh. I don't know. The happiest rabbi. By the way, next time you guys go to Israel, you must go to him. The happiest, most energetic rabbi you'll ever see. and he sees and knows things that I was measuring. He made me tell a father once on the phone that his son is not sick and to proceed with the surgery. And my Hebrew wasn't that great, still not that great. And I go, wait, can you say that again? Like, I'm not telling your father, it's crazy. And he yelled at me, he goes, say it or I'll find someone else that will. So I said, okay, I told him. I told him. 2 weeks later, I called my Rabbi Eisenkot, who connected this person to us. And I said, whatever happened with that guy with the baby? He goes, oh yeah, they did the surgery, everything was fine. I go, it wouldn't kill the guy to pick up the phone. I go, I'm not sleeping. So he tells me, he goes, so when my wife was pregnant with my son, I asked the rabbi, does he know what it is? So he started laughing. So I go, what's so funny? He goes, yeah, I know. He goes, what is it? I remember where I was in Bet Torah in the breakfast room. In Bet Torah. So I said, Rabbi, what is it? He goes, a boy. I go, how do you know it's a boy? On the phone, Rabbi Lifshitz. I go, how do you know? He goes, Hashem wouldn't give you 4 girls. As he told me. And he was right. It's crazy. All right, so back to what we were saying. So the Zera Berech brings the Midrash and says that Hashem put Hagigit on top because of the Torah Shebe'al Peh. Right? ולכן אמרו נעשה כל מה שיהיה בכתב ואחר כך נשמע התורה שבעל פה לקיימה לפי רצונו. Right? They want to do, again, by the way, you have that same issue till today. You know, when you deal with kiruv work, there's 2 types of people. The guys that don't know nothing, which is much easier because they're willing to listen and it's much easier. And you have the other guys that are way too smart. They think they're smart, they're too smart for their own good. And if it doesn't make sense to them, it doesn't make sense. So you have to spend more time being playing offensive to show to him how he's already doing things that he doesn't understand and he's fine with it. It's until you open his eyes to get him to open his heart to actually listen. Those are 2 types of people. Even though we accepted Torah Shebe'al Peh by Purim, that's the whole famous Kimu ve'Kiblu, that we accepted when Bnei Yisrael saw what Mordecai and Esther did for Bnei Yisrael, 7 years of political drama that Bnei Yisrael had no idea what was going on. Only after that they find out the whole story. That's when they know that's what the rabbis do for us, because he was the head of the Sanhedrin, Mordecai. So they said, okay, we're in. That's why Purim is very, very special. That's the Nishma. But over here, the Nishma wasn't so hot. Over here, the Nishma is, I got to find out if I like it, and that's when Hashem got angry. That's one way not to say Nishma.
It was really, the Nishma was really not even there.
Why?
I mean, what was the Nishma at that point?
Nishma means I'll listen to Torah Shebe'al Peh.
Right.
The tefillin being black is Torah Shebe'al Peh.
Right.
Okay? I don't know. No, not a woman covering.
These were what? These were all.
You have Torah Shebirtav, which is here. Yeah. A lot. Yeah. Yes. Right. When if you look at Pirkei Avot, I think you have the first 13 Mishnayot. It says Kibel, and then after it gets a little fuzzy. Because so there
was the Nishma aspect where they said,
of course,
okay,
it was
here's the
Nishma.
10 Commandments, very nice, this is what we're going to do, we got it. We don't want to die. And then this part was all the other halachot that we're saying here in the negative that they're saying,
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I have to look at it.
Well, it seems like it because that's why he flipped that mountain over.
Yeah, because Hashem said you can't have one without the other. You know what Eliyahu Navi says, he writes in Tanei Divrei Eliyahu, it's delicious. He goes, you want to compare a guy that just does Torah Shebirtav versus a guy that does Torah Shebirtav and Torah Shebe'al Peh? Because if a king has 2 servants and he loves both of them, he gives them a bundle of pishtan, linen, flax, not even linen, flax, and he gives him a couple of bundles of wheat. And the guy so a month later, the king comes back, and one guy takes the wheat and he plants it or he roasts, I don't know, he makes beautiful breads, and he takes the pishtan and he makes it into beautiful garments for the king, something, he grew it. So he comes to see it and he's so happy, like, wow, this is great, look what he did from that, I gave him this, and look what he brought me. Then he goes to the other guy, he goes, the flax is in his hand, and the bundles are in his other hand, and the king got angry, what the heck did you do? You did nothing. That's the difference between a guy that only learns Torah Shebirtav versus a guy that learns Torah Shebirtav and Torah Shebe'al Peh. Torah Shebe'al Peh, you get to do this, and you get to make beautiful things out of it. You want to do Torah Shebirtav, you're not going to get very far. And Hashem wants you to take both. You got to take both. That's why it's so important to learn both. It's not important. It's not only enough to learn halakha. It's not only enough to learn Gemara, and it's not only enough to learn Pesukim. You got to learn Pesukim, Gemara, halakha, Zohar. Your boys are old enough. It's time. It's time. Start small, but you open the book. It's not bad. It's not so hard. So Bnei Yisrael didn't want it. So you see Naaseh v'nishma in a bad way. But now Zera Shimshon is going to say it in a good way. Then we say Naaseh v'nishma. Why? Because there's a famous Gemara in Shabbat, Pe'chet Amud Aleph. It's a guy sees Rava reviewing his limud, and what does he do? He's taking his fingers and digging them into the ground, and he doesn't realize that blood's coming out of the nails because because the guy's focused so much on trying to understand what he's learning. So this guy sees him and he says, "Ama peziza, you're still an impulsive nation. You were impulsive then, and now you're paying for it now because you're impulsive by saying Naaseh v'nishma. Whatever you say, God, you will do. Meanwhile, you don't even know what's written in it, and now look at you." You're sitting on the floor, your nails all bleeding because you're forced to learn something that you can't comprehend, and you're paying for what you did back then. So what does he answer him? He says, no. He says, Anan, us, de saginan bishlemuta. We follow God completely. Why? Because what does it say about us? Tumat yesharim tarhem. That we go in complete faith. Right? Because why? We said Naaseh v'nishma. Why do we say Naaseh v'nishma? Because we are certain that God will not give us something that we cannot handle. That we are certain and we trust in Borei Olam that there's no one else like Him that will watch over us, and He will never give us something that we cannot handle. And His Torah is emet, without adding anything extra, without removing anything. And therefore, it makes sense, that Rava says, to say Naaseh v'nishma, because we trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you see two ways that you could look at Naaseh v'nishma. Good way, bad way. Bad way is we say I do to anybody that walks in the door. Okay? You could say it in a good way by saying, no, we trust in God wholeheartedly. We know He's not going to give us anything we can't handle. Those are the two ways you can look at it. But when we sinned by the Egel, everything changed. When we sinned at the Egel, now the world is going to forget that fact that we accepted the Torah Naaseh v'nishma because we trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and chances are they're only said Naaseh v'nishma because they say I do to anybody that walks in the door. Look what it says. It says Omnam kishahatu ba'egel, when we sinned with the Egel, v'kibilu alav le'eloah, and we took on a calf as a god, right? Nistad perush zeh, this perush was hidden. Sheharei im hayu ma'aminim b'HaKadosh Baruch Hu belev shalem, because if we would have believed in HaKadosh Baruch Hu wholeheartedly. Why do we trust in Hashem wholeheartedly? Because there's nobody like Him, right? Then we never should have exchanged Him for anything else. If you trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu that He's emet, right, and there's nothing, there's no issues, and He only gives us something that we can handle, then when you thought Moshe died, you never would have exchanged Him for another God. You would never exchange Hashem for another God. Because you know that anything He gives me, I can handle. And it's all from Him. So if you changed Him, so now if that's true, you never would have changed Him for a different God. Now that you change Him for another God, it must mean you don't think He's so full of it. He's not all 100%. And maybe He can give you, maybe He will give you something that you can't handle. Right? So what does it? It shows you retroactively that your hearts were not complete with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when they said the words Naaseh v'nishma, they did not do it because of the emunah that they had, because He's the only one in the world, because we even did it for an Egel, because we said the same thing for the Egel. Because now that we didn't answer Naaseh, because we didn't say Naaseh, because we did the Egel, it proves retroactively. Everything's retroactive.
That was the sketch.
That we do it for anybody.
Right. And we're just saying.
Yeah, today's God, tomorrow an Egel, tomorrow who knows.
We're trying to appease whatever someone wants to hear. We say what they want.
Not appease. We'll take whatever
they want to hear.
We accept. You want to be my God? I'll be your God.
You hear Naaseh v'nishma, but now no.
Not that He wanted to hear. No, it's not that we're a crowd pleaser. It's we accept anyone to be our God. If you have a woman who's has a boyfriend this day, then tomorrow another guy, there's no loyalty. There's no loyalty. If we had loyalty because we trust in God, like Rava, like the Gemara in Shabbat, then we never would have wondered what are we going to do once we thought Moshe died? Because he didn't come back after 40 days. So now that you accepted the Egel, retroactively you're showing that you don't trust God. You just accept anybody that walks through the door. You guys were slaves. You had nothing. So anything is better than nothing.
Even if Moshe died, we wouldn't trust that Hashem would give us a different leader.
If we always accepted Hashem wholeheartedly, the world could collapse. We trust Hashem. We know Hashem is doing it for a reason. So if Moshe died, we would never swap him out for somebody else. But now that you swapped him out for somebody else, it shows that you're not wholeheartedly attached to God. You don't really trust God. So that concept is completely forgotten. Why? Because you picked an egel. From one day. It was 6 hours, by the way. It wasn't even a day. 6 hours. It's crazy. All right, so what was the kavanah? The kavanah was really like the first perush, like we learned. Mamrim haiti mimashe. This is all Moshe, by the way. This is all Moshe. Moshe, we wanted to know why are we bringing Har Sinai, why are we excluding Har Sinai? Because he's explaining that Hashem knew the whole time that you guys were rebellious from day one. You understand? And the only ones that didn't know were the Goyim. And now that's why he brings out the Egel separately. Because now that we know that you did the Egel retroactively, we know that you did not say V'nishma, not for the good reason, for the bad reason. Because you say that for anybody that walks through the door. That's all Moshe. Okay? But the difference is what? Is that retroactively it was known only when? By the Egel. And what he continued, Umasha Hazal Umar Besova Tochacha, Mamrim Hayiti Im Hashem, Miyom, this is crazy, this is a harif over here. Im Hashem, Miyom Dati Etchem. So if you look, go to your Humashim, turn to Pasuk Kav Daled. Go to Kav Daled, Perek Tet Kav Daled, because we're on Pasuk Zayin, and Het Tet, I'm sorry, go to, now all this is Tochacha, by the way. Now you go to Kav Daled, the last Pasuk of Tochacha, right?
The day I knew you.
Right. Mamrim ha'itim im Hashem. You guys were rebellious from the day I knew you. They say from the day I knew you.
Balturim says, unbelievable.
Yeah. What do we see about Balturim?
The mem, Musayim b'mem. The mancha shekol mem shana she'item b'mem.
40 years. Oh, that's so harsh. So for all 40 years, I got chills. All 40 years.
Wow.
Say it again.
He's saying, "Pasuk matchil b'mem." The pasuk starts.
Look at Kav Daled. Look at Kav Daled. The first word, the first letter of the word, and the last letter.
Right. Right. So is it saying b'mem? Lomar lecha to tell you should call mention all the 40 years. She'item b'mem that you were in bad. Heitem b'mem you were rebellious against me.
Okay. Now look. Now why does he write that at the end? Because he kind of said it already in the beginning that you guys rebelled. Yeah, what do you say? So look, this is sick. This is sick. It's a short derasha today, but
this is Moshe speaking.
But he's saying,
yeah. This is Moshe speaking. All this Moshe.
We didn't learn yet that Moshe said that I knew that you guys were rebellious the whole time. First, he originally said Hashem knew you guys were rebellious the whole time.
No, they didn't say that. They didn't say Hashem knew. He said you were. He's saying fact. He's saying we're rebellious. Right. He says, remember and don't forget, by the way, separate whole another derasha, the fact that you upset God in the Midbar from the day that you left Mitzrayim until the day you got to this place right now, you rebelled against God. That's the pasuk. So now he's saying, at the end of the Tochacha, he's saying that you guys are rebellious from the day I met you. Right. What is he trying to say? He's trying to say that even though even though I knew that you were rebellious from the day that I met you, Hakadosh Baruch Hu punished me on it. Because what did Moshe tell Hashem when he first got there? He said, they ain't gonna believe me. I'm gonna go there, they're not gonna believe. What does Hashem answer him? He says, it's not true. They are believers, the children of believers. Ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim. And he says, at the end of the day, you're gonna be the one that's not gonna believe in me. When by Mimiriva, when you hit the rock, when you're gonna hit the rock, it's crazy. He goes, it's gonna
rub off on you.
It's not gonna rub off on you. You're telling Bnei Yisrael that they're the ones that are rebellious. They're fine. You're the problem. You're gonna see that it's gonna happen to you. That's what he's saying, and that's the punishment that he got. It's crazy. Look what it says.
He's saying that about himself, though.
Yes, he says. I said. Let's read inside. Okay, ממרים הייתם עם השם מיום ידעתי אתכם, right? כוונתו הייתה לומר, what's his כוונה saying? אף על פי שחשב לי, הקדוש ברוך הוא לעוון כשאמרתי, והן לא יאמינו לי. Right? Hashem considered it a sin on my part by saying what? When I said that they are not going to believe in me, right? In the beginning. Right. What does Hashem answer him? Hem ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim. They are believers and their children are believers. Ata, you, en sofcha la'amin. You at the end of the, you're going to be the one that don't believe in me. Right? By Mei Merivah, where he ends up losing his cool and he ends up hitting the rock multiple times. Like it says in the Gemara in Shabbat, right? Zeh lo haya ela lefi she'avarti al havei dan et kol adam lechav sekut. Why did I do this? Because of the punishment that I did not judge everybody favorably. You see, there's another gadol, by the way, that did not judge Bnei Yisrael favorably.
So by him, Moshe is saying, "Mamrim heitem Hashem yom da'ati etchem." He wasn't being down the kav zchut.
Exactly.
It's unbelievable.
No, because he says, because what does he say? What does he say? He says,
because he's the one who was,
because he says when he first meets before that, not when he says, Vehen lo ya'aminu li. They're not going to listen to me. Hashem says, don't worry. They're believers in Munah Peshuta, believers and sons of believers. They're going to listen to me. But you, at the end of the day, you're the problem. Because you're going to hit the rock in Mei Merivah and you're not going to go into Eretz Yisrael because of it. And Moshe says in the Gemara and Shabbat, that's the reason why, because I didn't give you the benefit of the doubt from the beginning. You were rebellious from the day I met you, but you're going in and I'm not.
You know that was 7-8 times already since the Bnei Yisrael were rebellious, and then he hit the rock.
But it's
so
for punishment.
It wasn't really.
It's for punishment what he did before. It's punishment for what he did before. When he first met Bnei Yisrael, he says, when Hashem's talking to him the first time by the Seneh, he said, they ain't going to believe me. Hashem said, don't worry. They will believe you because they are believers, children of believers. But what did Hashem say? Don't worry about it. No, first of all, if you read the Pesukim, very uncomfortable. Because Moshe says a few times, and Hashem keeps going back and forth, and it's uncomfortable to read. It's a little like, you ever read it? It's like, it's uncomfortable. He argues, he keeps arguing. It's like 3 times he argues with God. It's uncomfortable to read it's a little much. And so Moshe is saying that I did not give you the benefit of the doubt to assume that I just assumed, dibs, they're never going to listen. So because we didn't give them the benefit of the doubt, Hashem says, you're going to be the one that's going to end up not being the one that doesn't believe, and you're going to get punished for it. And look, Bnei Yisrael right now going inside Eretz Yisrael, and me myself, I'm dying over here. So I asked you before, there was another gadol that this happened to. Eliyahu Navi. Eliyahu Navi, when then it was actually, I think it was in one of the Haftarot recently, where Hashem gives him, sends him out to feed him 40, for a little bit, and then he took a journey, 40 days, 40 nights. He ended up at Har Sinai or at Har Moriah, I don't know where. I think Har Moriah. And he prays, and he tells them, he goes, destroy them. They're not worthy. Eliyahu Navi says, they're not worthy. And Tanei Divayahu says, Hashem waited for the 3rd hour in the morning to tell him that he's no longer going to be the Navi, and to appoint Elisha as student, he's going to be the new Navi. And what's Eliyahu's punishment? Because one of the things he said was, Bnei Yisrael don't do Berit Milah anymore. So Hashem said, that's not true. And the punishment is that he has to go to every Berit Milah. That's why I have Kisei Eliyahu. And you could ask the question, what's the big deal? Hadid, you got to go to, okay. The problem is that in Shamayim, all the Tzaddikim get to gather around Hashem. And when they gather around Hashem, they get to learn from Hashem. And every time there's a big chidush that's coming up, Hashem's going to reveal a great secret. Eliyahu Navi has to get up and now go to the Brit Milahs.
He used to split himself up.
I'm sure, yeah, by the way. But it's, you understand? So, because we did it, the Gedulim, because our Gedulim, didn't give us, the Jedbez of the generation, the benefit of the doubt, they end up getting punished for not, that's crazy. What does he finish by saying? Aval ha'emeti keshe'atem hi'itim mamrim et Hashem, when you rebelled against God, kemo she'asitim be'horev, like you did in Har Sinai, Taveira ub Masa, right? It's 2 other places that they complained. Ub Taveira, they complained about the traveling. They said it's too much. And Masa, they complained about water. Miyom Rishon Harishon Sheyadati Echim, even from the first day that I knew you, She'af al pi shamali, even though he told me that they are believers, Hem Aminim, Galui Hayal Lefanav, even though Hashem defended you and told me that you are believers, even though He knew that you were going to mistake, you were going to make a sin at the end by the Egel, right? He still defended you, even just like He knew that at the end of me I was going to mess up and I was going to hit the rock in Mei Meriva. He's saying that the truth is, you're right. You were rebellious to God. Right, like you did in Horeb, and you complained about the traveling, you complained about the water. But even though from the first day that I met you, even though He told me that they are the children of believers, and it was galui lefanam, meaning it was not revealed, it was pashut, it was open to Him, or it was easy for Him to know, right, that they're going to end up sinning in the future, just like He knew that I was going to sin by Mei Meriva. And He still said, no, the Hema Aminim, B'nei Aminim. And so Moshe is saying it's a double-edged musar. One is you're a bunch of rebellious, spoiled brats. At the same time, I still have an obligation to defend you, and Hashem is punishing me on the fact that I didn't defend you. By Hashem saying, Him ma'aminim, b'nei ma'aminim, and just like He knew that you were going to sin, and even though He still said that you were the children of believers, just like it was revealed to Him, not revealed, because revealed means that it was hidden. So you can't say that. Just like it was open to Him that He's going to whatever, it's also open to Him that I was going to hit the rock in Mei Meriva. And He still defended you guys. Yeah.
So it says here on the bottom, Moshe was punished with the leprosy.
Yeah, it was sarat for a short period of time.
That was for speaking negatively.
That was when He put His arm out, no?
I think so. I think that's what it was, yeah. When He put his, by Paro.
Yeah.
By Paro.
Yeah, He put his arm.
He put his arm
in his jacket.
One of the simanim.
And then He put it back in and it was healed. That was when He was talking bad.
But it's crazy how it shows you. You really, it's crazy.
By the way, maybe I just throwing this out there. Probably is 100% wrong.
Don't say it's wrong. Go to you. We're gonna do the last one. Very short. Yeah.
Thought.
Yeah, tell me.
Zechor al tishkach et asher iksafta et asher elokeinu b'mavad. Moshe is talking to himself.